Free Period is a podcast of First Baptist Watauga Student Ministry. For more information about First Baptist Watauga, you can check us out at fbcwatauga.org. Hello and welcome to Free Period with Kevin Skinner, the weekly break you want to take. I'm your host, Kevin Skinner, Associate Pastor and Student Pastor at First Baptist Church in Watauga, Texas, and I'm joined today by Nathan McEndree, Young Adult Minister and Assistant Student Minister at First Baptist Church in Watauga, Texas, right here with me. And today, we're going to be answering the question, what are your favorite Disciple Now memories? But first, before we get to that question, Nathan is going to do something that Matthew did with me last week. He's going to give me another word or phrase that students today say, and I'm going to have to guess what it is. So, what do you have for me today? What's the crazy thing that students say today that I'm going to have to figure this one out? All right.
Hi, Kevin. So, the word for today that I have found on the interweb and heard some younger people saying is Gucci.
Gucci, okay. I think I might know what this is. I'm not 100% on this, but I'm going to guess Gucci is a brand, a type of product, and it's a fairly nice brand. So I'm going to guess that if you were to say Gucci, I'm going to guess that students are calling something Gucci, and I'm going to guess that that means that they're calling it something nice or like it's something cool or fancy or whatever. Is that correct?
Basically so. You did it.
Hey, all right. I think I have, I watch some reality TV shows at times, so I think I have heard that
He's an expert now.
No. Now, I will say, I have not heard any of our students saying Gucci. And then let me also say this. So last week, Matthew introduced me to that phrase, weird flex, but okay. And so this last week, I have intentionally been trying to work that into my vocabulary. With my daughter, I picked her up from school, and she told me about her day. And I said, weird flex, but okay. I don't really think that I used it correctly, but I decided to just throw that in there, weird flex, but okay. And we were walking away from her school at the time when I said this, and she looked at me and she was like, don't ever say that again. So I don't think that it went over that well with me saying that to her. And then at Disciple Now weekend, this last weekend, which we're about to be talking about, I decided to throw that in with a couple of students in conversations, and they also did not like the fact that their youth pastor was saying weird flex, but okay. So, I don't know, but we'll see. I'll call some things Gucci this week. Maybe on Wednesday night, I'll call some things Gucci and see how that's perceived.
You're expert, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, now before we get to our question about our favorite Disciple Now memories, Kevin, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Disciple Now is?
Yeah, so for some of our viewers out there, viewers or listeners, you may not know what Disciple Now weekend is. I don't know if churches outside of like the Baptist circle calls their event Disciple Now, but it's basically a big youth weekend, similar to like going to camp, except it just happens here on the church premises and in host homes. So we use people from our church, maybe it's parents of youth or just devoted, faithful members that want to give up their home for the weekend, and we send students to stay in these homes, and they have, so here at the church we have worship and we have sermons, and then in the host homes we have small group Bible study sessions, and then we also have some fun events. Like this time we went to Altitude. In years past we've gone to places like Whirly Ball and Laser Tag. But basically, it's just a fun weekend to come together and try to intentionally disciple students to help them grow in their faith, or for some students to come to know the Lord. I've heard other churches call it the Big Weekend, Impact Weekend, but for years, even when I was a kid, it was called Disciple Now Weekend in my church. So I like that term. I think it's very specific to the purpose of the weekend, which is to disciple children.
Very good, very good. Thank you for filling some of us in who may or may not know what that is.
Did you know what Disciple Now was?
I actually did. That is a term that
good.
I knew.
Yeah, that's good. You should.
Well, I would hope so. So it's my job to know these things.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to our question for the day. We'll break it down some, but the overarching question is, what are your favorite Disciple Now memories? And we'll break that up a little bit. And so the first way we'll break it up is this past now, the one we just had. What are some of your favorite memories from the one most recently?
Okay. So this year, now one of the things that I have always done as a leader, and then especially as the student pastor, I get to go around on Friday nights and visit all of the host homes. And part of the purpose of this is simply to make sure that everyone has gotten where they're supposed to go, that every house has what they need, that everything is going smoothly on night one of Disciple Now. And so after the first worship session, we send everybody home. I give it a few minutes, and then I head to all of the houses to visit. And we had 4 houses this year. And my favorite memory is the food, certainly. So let me tell you about some of these things that I got to experience. There was an awesome cheese dip at the Arsenal house. It was amazing.
Jealous.
Yeah, I went there. They had some really good salsa too, but the cheese dip there was amazing. At the Roberts home, they had made some Amish caramel popcorn.
I heard about this.
Yeah, that was really good. Interestingly, this has never happened to my knowledge in all of the Disciple Nows. Every single house for night one made tacos. Every single house. We went to every house, and every house had tacos available for us to eat. And so we went from house to house, and we were having chips and salsa and eating some tacos and cheese.
Friday night fiesta night.
The food on Friday nights, that's always one of my favorite memories. Now, in particular, this year, visiting all the homes was different for me, and this is really what made visiting the homes my favorite, was the fact that this year my wife got to participate. And this is my... Let's see, I started doing Disciple Now at this church in 2011. And so, we're looking at 9 years of doing Disciple Now. And this is the first year that my wife has been able to go around and visit the houses with us. And so, and also she participated in the entire weekend. We thankfully had some great family babysitters for us this weekend. And so she was able to participate, and that made it extra special. But what about you? Because your perspective is a little bit different from mine, because I have never, at this church at least, I have never stayed in a home as a leader, but that's something that you do every year. So what are some of your favorite memories as a leader, especially getting to stay in the homes?
To be honest, I kind of wish we had a sound box. I could have gone, "Aw," for your answer. That's what we needed, but that's okay. Yes, my perspective is a little bit different. I was a student up until the time that I started leading the small group. So, I've never done a round of all the houses. So, good for you, Fiesta
You're missing
boy.
out. You're missing out.
Well, it's my job.
Your day will come. Your day will come.
Maybe so.
That's right.
So, I guess, since I'm in the house, if we're going to talk about my favorite memories from this past one. So, as he mentioned, Sarah, your wife, has she came to this last one. She was there all weekend at various points of Disciple Now, and
Right.
And she has to do with my favorite memory. I
Wow.
think.
All right. Sarah, you made an impact this weekend on everybody.
So
in this room,
when you were going about the house, I believe you came to our house last, the Sufka house, right?
That's correct. Yep.
And so last house, and we hear the doors outside, and so we hear that they're here. Or maybe you texted Cindy somehow or another. We knew you were about to walk in, so we were all standing there at the door. We turned off all the lights. because we're high school boys and we're mischievous, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a high school boy, but maybe I kept some of the mischievousness.
Right.
Anyway, so we turn off the lights and Cindy opens the door and Sarah's right there, first one in, and she's kind of giving this confused look already. I'm standing right beside the door. Of course, she can't see me because it's dark, and Cindy goes, "They're all asleep," which Sarah doesn't believe for a moment.
Right.
She goes, "No, they're not." But she doesn't see us, which I thought, well, the gig was up, except that she walked 2 feet in, and that's when we noticed that she had not seen us yet, because she reels back and goes, "Ah!" And it was fantastic.
Well, and part of that, what you left out, was 2 of the students had their pool cues.
That's right.
Right? Because she's got a pool table at her house. So they had 2 pool sticks, and they're like knelt down and holding them up. And, you know, from the dark, it almost looked like they had like old bayonet guns, right?
Wow.
So, because I said it did not startle me because, you know, my wife went first. I was
That's
using
right.
her as a shield. And
You're expert, ladies and gentlemen.
that's right. So, she sees them. She screams. That's really what caused the scream. Not just that there were people, but looked like there were weapons pointed at her. And so that caused her to scream. But, yeah, that certainly was a good memory for sure. So that's funny, though, that both of our Disciple Now memories include my wife. So, Sarah, I think it's settled. You have to come and be a part of Disciple Now weekend.
Absolutely.
From now on. I mean, no questions about it, of course.
You gonna sing that song? From now on. You know what I thought he was going to break out in a song.
Nah.
Okay.
Nah, I'll pass. All right, so now let me ask you, what are, as we're thinking about what are your favorite Disciple Now memories, right? We talked about some of our favorite memories from this year. What are some of your favorite memories from past Disciple Nows? Because you have been a part of Disciple Now since you were in 7th grade here at First Baptist Watauga. And
right.
now, how many of you how many have you participated in as a leader?
Ooh, as a leader here at Watauga?
Yes, as a leader here at this church since you graduated high school.
So actually, I believe I've only done 3 now.
Okay.
If my memory serves me correctly, 2 that I can really remember. I remember I took at least a year off of D-Now, if not 2, right after I got out of college because it was on the weekend. It was hard to come back. And then I just got tired and missed it enough that I was ready to come back and just drive in for the weekend and drive right back. So
right.
I think 2, now that I think about it. I did come together last year, and I did, well, no, because I did one for Zach. So it had to have been 3 because I did this one as well. So
Okay.
I guess 3.
Wow. All right. So since 7th grade and then 3 as a leader. So what are some of your favorite memories from all of those? Pick one right now on the spot. Pick one favorite memory. You can give more than one.
Okay. I'm probably going to go with one when I was younger and a student and probably about 7th or 8th grade. See, one of my favorite parts of D-Now is watching some of the students kind of befriend each other. Mm-hmm. Not everyone hangs out with everyone necessarily on a Wednesday night. But
True.
at D-Now, you're in close quarters, so you're next to people you don't know whether you like it or not, and you
right.
get to know them whether you like it or not.
Very true.
There was one particular one where I had gone upstairs. We were in the Sufka house, as we often were, and I didn't think anyone was upstairs. And so I was upstairs, and I must have been looking for something because I was kind of throwing a bunch of blankets and sleeping bags, which were all over the floor, just kind of around looking for probably my name tag or something like that. Mm-hmm. And as I looked, I kind of tossed some sleeping bags or heavy blankets over my shoulder, and I heard a noise. They landed on a person. I went, oh. And the guy is basically, I'm sleeping here with all the lights on. It was very strange. But, yeah, he was trying to go to bed early. And I said, my bad. I didn't know what else to say, so I just said, my bad to this guy. So for the rest of the weekend, anytime this guy saw me, his name was Ricky Diaz. He actually continued to become, Ricky.
Shout out to Ricky Diaz if you're watching this.
We'll have to send you the link or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we became good friends after that weekend because all weekend long, if something would happen, he would just kind of look at me and go, "My bad," and just kind of a sarcastic remark and call back to that moment. And we continue to be friends and even quote that moment for several years and continue to remain friends all throughout high school in the youth
awesome.
group. So, yeah, you can build a lot of good, solid friends at DNow.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I love about Disciple Now is that it gives us a chance to build those relationships, just like you said, more so than on a Wednesday night. Because on Wednesdays, we're here for hour and a half to 2 hours together, right? If you show up early and you play in the game room, hang out, right? You're here for maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours. But at Disciple Now, right, you're together all weekend long. And so it really does help build those memories. And that's one of the things that I not just the memories, it helps build those relationships. But that's one of the things that I love about Disciple Now. So for me, I have been a student in Disciple Now, not here at First Baptist Watauga, but at First Baptist Church in Rockport, Texas. I have served inside of a home, leading the small group discussions, not here at First Baptist Watauga again, but that was at First Baptist Jinx in Oklahoma. And then I've been, for most of the years, before I became the student pastor here, I recorded the videos and took pictures, and I put together a montage every year for Disciple Now Weekend to show on Sundays. And so this is my second year as the student pastor leading it. But my favorite memory has to, from years past, has to be from when I went to Disciple Now in 7th grade at First Baptist Church in Rockport, Texas. I want to say the theme that year was like Heartbeat or something like that. I just remember it definitely was not Fiesta Friday.
Rats.
But I remember the shirt that we had. It was a gray shirt, and then it had a pink heart on it. And I feel like there was like like the hospital line beeping. But man, I can't remember the exact theme of that week. But I can tell you what our house changed the name of the weekend to. And I've told this to some of the students before, but I'll share this now since we're talking about past memories. Our boys, it was 7th and 8th grade, our boys spent the entire weekend giving wedgies to each other. Yeah, wedgies.
It's your favorite memory.
I mean, it's middle school boys. Come on.
Fair.
But yes, we spent the entire weekend giving wedgies to each other. And so our weekend, this is why I don't remember the actual theme of DNow. We changed the name of DNow, at least for our house, to Wedgie Weekend. And
yikes.
But
Very spiritual.
But I remember that weekend. I remember sitting around and having those Bible studies. I remember a video that we watched in particular. I won't talk about that right now for time's sake. But I remember a video. I remember all of the stuff that we did together with all of those students that weekend. And I built some meaningful relationships with some of the guys in the youth group that weekend. And it was because we just got silly, got weird, and gave each other wedgies. I mean, it was a fun weekend, and clearly, I mean, here I am, 38 years old now, and I still have memories from that Disciple Now weekend. And so Disciple Now is it truly is a meaningful weekend for students. And if you're a student out there, you have likely had some very meaningful memories as well. So let me give you a suggestion. If you're watching this video and you were a part of this Disciple Now weekend, or you've been a part of past Disciple Now weekends, leave a comment below and tell us what your favorite memories were from Disciple Now weekend, from either this year or from years past. What are some things that you remember? What was meaningful to you? Now, if you're listening in the audio form, there's no way for you to comment, so you can head over to Facebook to leave your comment below the video. Do it.
Do it.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine some of the weird things that that we will
Why
hear.
I want them to do it. I want to hear all the middle school boys respond.
Do it.
All
Yep.
of you.
All right, well, that's it for this episode of Free Period. Join us again next week as we answer the question, who is your good-looking intern? This was an actual question submitted, so we're going to be talking about that question
Found in the box.
next week.
I hope that you enjoyed today's podcast, and I'd love to meet you in person. If you're a student between 7th and 12th grade, you can join us on Wednesday nights for midweek at First Baptist Watauga. You can also join us on Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m. for growth groups and 10:50 a.m. for worship.